Welcome to the Functional Living Podcast, featuring your hosts, Dr. Jeff Cumro.
You can't live a 3 out of 10 on the lifestyle scale and expect to have a 10 out of 10 on health. It just doesn't work that way.
And Dr. Jared Leon.
We want you to live at a higher quality of life, thereby having a better everyday existence.
Functional Living is the show that is dedicated to your higher quality of life. These are tried and true solutions from two nationally acclaimed health and wellness experts.
Our goal in this journey is quite simple, is to give our listeners a small understanding of what we've done and what we see every single day to better patient lives.
Learn how you can live a higher quality of life today.
You're going to be much happier. You're going to be much healthier.
And now, introducing your hosts, Dr. Jeff Cumro and Dr. Jared Leon.
Hey, this is Dr. Jeff Cumro. Welcome to the Functional Living Podcast. I'm here with Dr. Jared Leon, and we just want to welcome you. The Functional Living Podcast is all about not only getting healthy, but helping live the most functional life you possibly can.
Great intro, Dr. Jeff. Listen, me and you have done this for a long period of time now, and we're getting a little bit more comfortable, but more importantly, this is our first time doing a live session together. We're actually in the same room. It's pretty amazing, actually. It's unbelievable. So we're super excited. We're going to do an amazing topic today about chiropractic and athletes, or just globally how athletes need chiropractic care or how they can function better within their normal life.
And you know, this is something that I don't think a lot of people realize, but you look at all professional sports teams, you look at the Olympics, all these people are using, most of these people anyway, are using chiropractic care, and it's something that you don't necessarily see on a common basis. Everybody looks at it as, hey, I'm in pain, and it's so much more than that, and that's what we have to get out there, is that chiropractic can benefit so many extra people, and we just need people to understand that.
Perfect, Dr. Jeff. So what I'm thinking here is this. Our listeners here right now, they're probably thinking that neither they are or they are not an athlete. And let's just quickly define what we consider an athlete. Is that fair?
That sounds like a great place to start.
So we're going to make it fun and simple. If you get up and you take care of your amazing kids, you could be an athlete for the day. If you go to the gym and you run a little bit on the treadmill, you go for a walk, you're kind of an athlete. But if you want to be more of an athlete, you can go run around the track many, many times, train for a half marathon, right? You can get an app right now, go sit on the couch to run a marathon. It's awesome. Or a 10K. Or you can grab a mountain bike and start mountain biking. Or you can go to the gym. Or you could do yoga. You can do cycling classes. It's endless. So the beauty is we're all our different version of athletes. And then you have the super high competitive athletes, the ones you see on TV or, especially in the Olympics that just passed. Now, they obviously have a higher regulation and a higher thought progression every single day of how much discipline they have. But it's not about that in today's call. Today is all going to be simply how can they fix the best versions of themselves with possibly the stress of working out. So let's give some really good tips today. What do you think, Dr. Jeff?
I think that sounds like a great place to start. And I hope that people didn't take that. I started out with chiropractic in professional sports and everything like that. And just because you're not in professional sports doesn't mean that you're not going to benefit from chiropractic care. Athletes of all levels are going to see a huge start from this.
Perfect. So why don't we go back to the very basic, right? Anytime you walk, run, jump, skip, hop, anything that moves differently, we all know there's a higher chance that can misalign your spine. And if you don't know that, just think of or watch somebody. Watch an athlete jump. Watch your kids jump, right? Watch them fall. Watch them tackle things. It's all part of the same game. So we're thinking first, everyone on this line is probably thinking, is this true that you're going to misalign your spine? Or let's open your thought progression. Is it also possible you can misalign a joint, right? And it could be your elbow, right? Tennis elbow, golfer's elbow. There's ankle problems that you hear every day. There's knee problems. There's all these problems of ankles and extremity issues. But the truth is, maybe that has no relevance towards you listening right now. Maybe it's my spine that hurts a little from the excessive running or the excessive wear and tear, or my shoulders hurt from bending over and looking on a bike so long, especially in a spin class.
I think that's an excellent point, but there's also the deeper end of things where you have to look at how your brain is working on all of this stuff. And chiropractic adjustments don't just work on the areas that are in pain or aren't functioning quite as well as they should. It works on the whole body, and that's something that we have to remember as we go through this. It's not just your leg that is doing the running. It's your whole body. Your spine moves through that. Your brain is working throughout all of this. Your abs have to contract to keep your structure. It's the whole body that has to work in this, and that's what chiropractic is so good for, is looking things globally.
Perfect. Once again, on top of that, it's also breathing is a big coefficient to working out as well as every level of living, right? Even your brain needs oxygen to survive on a critical level. So really, if you think of it, a chiropractor can look at all of this as well, because I know me and you look at this every day in the office. We start usually from this foundation, or we start from the top, right? So we can look at your feet. You guys have been in the office and you've been with Dr. Jeff. We always look at your feet. We do a lot of leg checks. We look at your breathing. We watch the way you walk, because all of this is critical for optimal brain health. So let's say right now, let's ask you some real gut level questions. When is the last time you got a nervous system check? Listeners, is there any thought? Email us. We're going to give us the emails at the very end, but emails, when's the last time you got a checkup? We challenge you, right? We challenge you all the time. So we challenge you to get a spinal checkup. When's the last time you got a nervous system checked? And that's right, it's also done by a chiropractor. Why don't we start there? Let's go a step further. Do you ever get all of your joints checked to see if they're in optimal alignment? And if you haven't, could you imagine that ankle pain that's been there for a long period of time, or that elbow pain from playing tennis? What if we can solve that riddle in just a few visits? What if we can solve that riddle in a day? Wouldn't that be acceptable to say that's amazing, and then you tell everyone you know? That'd be pretty cool.
You know, the other thing I think that people really need to know about chiropractic is, you have to look at things as an efficiency standpoint. Exercise is hard enough, just getting out and exercising. How much harder is it when you're not as efficient as you could be?
Wonderful. So what is efficiency, right? Efficiency is all about simply, we're going to classify it right now as the brain optimizing through the spinal cord, out through a spinal nerve to a collection of tissues or cells or any body part that you think of. Forget the science. Just make it simple. So if your quadricep needs to be equal on both sides to run, and your right side gets more brain messaging, the left side's going to fatigue out and maybe cramp up later. Or, to open up your mind, maybe it won't be the quadricep that blows out or feels weird. Maybe you'll get a hamstring contracture because the quadricep was pushing too hard. So it just shows that instead of going to maybe the medical cabinet at the end of a night and taking some Advil or some over-the-counter something, maybe we could have solved that riddle by just adding in some good thought progression as far as maybe a little bit more water, a little bit of maybe a supplement like magnesium, or more importantly, getting your spine and nervous system checked, which would have solved the whole thing from the beginning by allowing your spinal cord to have proper connection.
You brought up a great point earlier with your breathing. Your breathing is so important in all athletics. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're not breathing correctly, then you're not going to use your muscles in general correctly. But more importantly, it's going to put a lot of stress on your abs. It's going to put a lot of stress on your spine. Your brain is not going to work as well. You're not going to be as talented as you could be in that. So there's so many things that go back to the efficiency of this, and that's really what chiropractic is going to help do. It's going to stimulate your body to be more efficient in everything that it does.
Perfect. So all the athletes on the line now, or all your amazing parents who are listening thinking, can you help out children who are athletes? And the answer is yes. I actually, as well as Dr. Jeff, we love working on super high level young athletes. And I mean, we can take you from the little tiny gymnastic age of 3 into, the age of going to college, getting prepared to go to a D1 school. We see all of that gamut in the practice. And it's always like, why would you do that? It's all about the efficiency Dr. Jeff spoke of before. As we increase efficiency, the body runs smoother. As it runs smoother, you reduce the risk and probability of injury. And as we know, every great athlete, the number one fear, especially when you get really good, is that one bad injury. So if you get that one thing that we can prevent, or possibly you can listen and we can motivate you or propel you to go somewhere local to get a checkup, then we've really done our job to motivate you. And that's all we're ever trying to do. We want you to live at a higher functional level.
I think that pretty much sums things up here. It's how good of energy are you putting into your body? How good of energy are you going to get out? It's just like going to the gas station. If you put in terrible gas, watered down, everything like that, your car's not going to run very good. And your body's exactly the same way. And I mean, that's a baseline level of explaining this, is you've got to put the best information in. And that's really what chiropractic is doing. It's stimulating those receptors to give you the best information possible so your body runs at a better level to give you that quality that you're looking for.
Perfect. That is actually great and well said, Dr. Jeff. Let's add one more little tiny piece, because a lot of people on this call are going to be thinking about possible, like he's heard these terms of itises, right? So I have tendonitis, I have ligament issues, I have constant sprains of my joints, right? I have bursitis, right? So what is that very quickly? Itis just means inflammation of, and of course, the number one medical procedure, which is not bad, we're not saying anything's bad, is cortisone, right? They give you an injection. But you know what? There's some other things that could be useful. So if we increase efficiency and the joint moves well, we can increase the probability of you not getting arthritis, as well as inflammation of tendinitis and bursitis. So that is really profound. So if we're looking at the athlete now, we're also thinking of the marathon runner 30 years from now that can't walk, right? Because their knees are really bad. So imagine some chiropractic care can increase the efficiency, thereby reducing the probabilities of all inflammation, including the ones in bones. That is profound. So if we can do one thing today to motivate you, It's going to be go get a spinal checkup and ask your chiropractor, could you please check my extremities? Ask them, say, my elbow doesn't feel right. Could you please check it? And they will explain what that means. It's been an honor today to be on this call. I'm going to let Dr. Jeff close. So once again, it's Dr. Jared. Have a great, healthy day and be well.
The thing I want to close with here is one of my biggest pet peeves is when people do get one of the itises, the arthritis, the tendinitis, any of that stuff. You know, I hear all the time, well, my doctor, my physical therapist, whoever told me just take time off and it's going to go away. That's okay. It might go away, but what are you doing to correct the problem? When you go back to doing that same thing, what's going to happen again? You have to take action on this. You can't just sit back and let things go away. It's not going to happen unless you actually take the action to do something about it. So, this is the Functional Living Podcast, and we want you to live a functional life. You have to take action to get that. So we will catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Dr. Jeff, Dr. Jared, always pleasure.
You've been listening to the Functional Living Podcast with Dr. Jeff Cumro and Dr. Jared Leon. If this podcast helped you find the path to your higher quality of life, be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating or review.